Now move over from there to talking about politics in Nigeria.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has met with Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. Atiku's meeting with Wike took place in London yesterday, hours after reports emerged that the duo are expected to meet in the UK. Wike and Atiku have been at loggerheads over the outcome of the PDP presidential primaries, which the latter won in May.
Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, and Abia State's Okezie Ikpeazu were also at the meeting. Let's now bring in Comrade Fidelis Edeh. He's a public affairs analyst and the executive director, Service Accord Initiative. It's good to have you again.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, whilst official campaign is yet to start ahead of the 2023 elections, we have seen many presidential flag bearers engage in strategic politicking, consultations, social media campaigns, amongst others. Can you tell us how these will shape the direction of voting? Can you hear us? Oh, it seems we're having slight technical challenges. We're hoping that we can reconnect with Comrade Fidelis shortly to talk about this. But it's interesting. I mean, like I had asked him, we haven't started official campaigns, but it's in some way, it's sort of subtle. Comrade Fidelis, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, great. Well, I was asking you that campaigns are yet to start officially, in preparation of 2023 elections, but we've seen I won't say low-key, high-key politicking. Consultations have been happening, meetings have been happening, social media campaigns have also taken place. Can you please tell us how these will shape the direction of voting in 2023?
Well, I think we have a challenge of delicate balancing. How do we now define campaign separate from consultation, separate from even the fact that people are aligning and realigning? But let us put in context the situation that we find in PDP. The beauty of democracy is the rule of law. Just like any other civilized country thrives on standard values, you can agree with me that the challenge of the PDP started when it subverted its own constitution. And its own constitution is not just something it invented. Its constitution aligns with Section 223 of the Nigerian Constitution that haven't seen the near anarchy we had in the First Republic. Decided to design constitution provision that parties must have internal democracy. And this internal democracy must be based on law. But immediately the PDP subverted its own constitution on rotation and even at the primary. You can now find that since then it has never had rest. It is even acts that would have been considered normally as anti-party, like the case of Wike meeting Tinubu and the governors meeting with other governors that are not PDP, other governors visiting PDP. In normal party politics, in normal party canvassing, that would have been seen as anti-party. But it is no longer so. So you find that the challenge of democracy in Nigeria, even the party system, is subversion of the internal democracy of the parties. So today, when people meet to try to resolve issues arising from the primary, do you now say they are campaigning or they are trying to reconcile? When we can also adopt arm twisting, like when overtures are made by APC, how do you define that? So this is part of the challenge we'll have. And that is why you find that citizens can't even put a hold or a hand on the ideologies that these parties are selling. So it is a challenge. And campaign is far away, more than a month from now. So it is something that is not interesting. And for me, it's painful.
Comrade Edeh, I want you to also share your thoughts on the Labour Party presidential flag bearer, Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State. I believe you're in the Southeast. So can you share with us, what the mood is like concerning Peter Obi in the Southeast? And do you, foresee, any maybe mergers, any, link-ups between parties and you know, politicians, you know, that might give him, you know, a fighting chance at victory?
Well, you see, yes, I'm from the Southeast, but the question we will ask ourselves is beyond the awareness that is generated through the social media.
Comrade Edeh, can you hear us? We may have lost that connection. But of course, conversations are centered around the 2023 presidential elections. And of course, the leading candidates, mergers, conversations, politicking, social media campaigns, and whatnot. The full campaigns will be starting very soon, and you know, I'm sure that it's going to be
at this point, it's safe to say that the campaign has already sort of
kind of
started.
has, yeah.
Because we see banners everywhere, telling you to vote for this person or vote for the other person. We're seeing banners, we're seeing people pushing for their candidates. They're talking about it. It almost feels like campaign has started.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm expecting that there would be new energy once it is officially campaign season. Comrade Edeh, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
All right, kindly go ahead.
The point I was making is that the P2B phenomenon is not just about Southeast. You can capture it within the template of a political process that has shut out majority of those who also have been not just marginalized, but have been made vulnerable politically. That is the youth category, and those who have not been able to find a meaning in the political process in 1999. Then in the Southeast, yes, the Igbos feel marginalized, particularly with what has happened in the PDP. Because you must agree that from 1999 till date, PDP seemed to be dominant. In fact, it is the party for the East. It is the party of Ndigbo. But when it was time for PDP to recognize this, when it was time for us to earn our own share of that political participation, you can see what happened, which was the reference I made initially about the PDP subverting due process. Because ordinarily, if you go by the Constitution, particularly Section 223, which talked about federal character by political parties in how they dispense their positions, there was no way after the emergence of UHIU that anybody from the North would have emerged as presidential candidate. And the exit of P2B is seen as something that spoke about the marginalization of not just Ndigbo, but the fact that PDP could not keep to its own constitution and the dictates of the national constitution.
Okay.
So Obi's emergence seemed to have mobilized that consciousness of people who feel betrayed, that consciousness of people who have been alienated, not just within the party system, but within the social political enclave.
Comrade Fidelis, let's talk very quick.
That Nigerian politics has been one that thrives on Marx values of religion, tribe, and vested interest. So the question here is that can P2B be able to subvert or surmount that tendencies that they are now awakening across the East, across the West, across the North, that when the time comes, people will say, no, this is how we want to go. That is my worry. Even in the East, you still find PDP very strong in where they are holding. You still find APC making inroads. So politically, there is this game of vested interest. How would the entire Southeast, for instance, agree that their interests will be protected in the emergence of P2B as president? And
Comrade Fidelis,
when we talk about P2B, it's just about the presidency. In Enugu, is it likely that the influence of P2B will make a candidate of the Labour Party, who before now was in PDP, but because he couldn't just get the ticket and move to Labour? Do you think that people will flow with that consciousness? In Imo, how would the people vote?
Comrade Fidelis, unfortunately, we've run out of time. We might not be able to continue this now, but we'd like to have you again. Okay. I mean, I would like to hear what your thoughts on the crisis between Atiku and Wike, but that will be another conversation. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Okay, thank you. It's my honor.
Thank you very much.